Junji Ito is a Japanese manga artist who specializes almost exclusively in horror, and chances are that if you've browsed the internet within the past few years, you've probably run into one of his works. Works of his such as The Enigma of Amigara Fault and Uzumaki are often the most well-known and circulated throughout message boards and forums that are related to the disturbing and supernatural. Ito cites sources of inspiration through other authors such as H.P. Lovecraft, but still gives his own personal twist on the genre by including his own illustrations. While Ito's work is classified as horror, it encompasses everything from body and cosmic horror to being black comedy. His work creates a sense of dread and isolation, creating scenarios in which a character's demise is inescapable or out of their control, with the forces behind the events being deities that humans wouldn't be remotely capable of retaliating back against. This combination of an established genre with a high flexibility and a distinct art style is what accentuates Ito's works to stand out from others, but it's also what hinders it in the case of adaptations. I'm not a fan of horror in any sense, but I've always been a fan of Ito's work in particular, and so to finally see the illustrations and visuals come to life, something that hasn't been done since 2012, was exciting. It was a new idea, and it was going to be a series that was based on previously established works. But it's been about 2 months since the last episode of the Junji Ito Collection aired, and I've pretty much forgotten all about it. The collection takes established stories authored by Ito and simply adapts them into animation in order to make it more accessible to some viewers. While a noble intention, by translating written words and illustrations into a medium limited by a team of animators, the ideas can come across as more constricted and limited versus what a reader's imagination does to fill in the gaps between each illustrated panel. Alongside this, while the series is based off of Ito's works, the script was written by a different screenwriter, Keioru Sawada, which causes issues for many, if not all, episodes. The writing for the show is often word for word, or at least close to the dialogue within the original stories, working with the storyboards to create scenes that look near identical to their manga counterparts. In fact, I'm 90% sure that they didn't even have storyboards at all. Rather, they just took panels from the manga, handed them off to the animation team, and said, "Here, make it look like this, but make it move." One of the biggest problems with the show in particular is that it never comes across as a horror anime. Yes, they touch upon some disturbing ideas and give you grotesque visuals at points, but usually it just falls flat. More often than not, the show just comes across as silly and quirky rather than legitimately disturbing. One of the best examples is the 6th episode, which retells the story of the window next door in the first half. The window next door tells the story of Hiroshi and his family moving into their new house, the neighbors another house where the door is always locked, but the tenant can be seen moving around in the windows at night. The first night there, Hiroshi hears a woman's voice calling out to him from outside his window, and he opens it, only to see a deformed, monstrous figure looking at him from the window adjacent to his. And this moment demonstrates one of the key reasons why these adaptations don't work. As she's seen in the anime, the woman next door is shown to be deformed and off-color, but in comparison to Ito's version, since the anime is, well, animated, details have to be cut in order to save time on animation. But this hurts the scene as a whole by removing the tension. In the illustration, Ito could have spent weeks, days, months working on that one panel, making sure that he gets every little detail right, in order to convey how truly disturbing the scenario is. Anyways, the story continues on from night to night, with the woman next door continuing to attempt to reach Hiroshi's room, with the last night focusing on her arms as she reaches out to open the window, which is just out of reach, before revealing the next day that the window of the house is seemingly stretched to reach his window. Again, the details on the side of the house as seen within the show are fewer when compared to the deformities on the house within the manga, which better conveys the notion that the woman and the house may be connected through similar appearances. This lack of detail is prominent throughout the anime, Scenes often feel lifeless and dull, with characters that don't stand out among one another. While there is shading and detail for environments, it feels as only the bare minimum's covered, with characters appearing as flat and dull as the background that they rarely feel like they're actually a part of. The only redeeming segment is the one that focuses around Tomi, one of Ito's already established characters. But even so, there's no point in watching this one 10-minute segment when she has 9 live-action movies that look 100 times better because they're live-action and not animated by Studio Dean. Oh, right. Studio Dean is responsible for the animation behind the series, which should be a good thing. In the past, Studio Dean's brought us Fate Stay Night, Italia, and Konosuba. Is this what the budget for a 3rd season of Konosuba went to? Regardless, it's just a shame that this project couldn't have been better. Hopefully, if there's another adaptation of Ito's work in the future, it is given time to be made. The one component that is important above everything else in recreating works as detailed as his. Yes, corners have to be cut in animation, and a distinct style is important to stand out, but Ito's style is one where you should either give it your all, or don't bother trying.
I don't know what this is, but it's kind of hot.